Welcome to Ebita Studio. My name is Elizabeth, and today we're going to be talking about reversible patchwork. So reversible patchwork, some people think of that as a quilt that has a piece on one side and a piece on the other side so that you can use either side. But that's not what I mean when I talk about reversible patchwork. I'm talking about one layer of fabric that is totally reversible and the seams are finished. And this technique is actually inspired by traditional Korean pojagi, which was an ancient patchwork technique that they used to make wrapping cloths and other items. So it is, if you're from the dressmaking world, you would recognize that it is a flat fell seam, but it's unusual for this type of seam to be used in patchwork. So it's not exactly quilting. It doesn't make a quilt with a batting and a backing, but it is a fine patchwork style. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the first step is to take your two pieces of fabric that you're going to be joining and lay them together. And you lay them together so the edges are offset by approximately 1/4 of an inch, just a bit smaller. And you would lay them either right sides together or wrong sides together. But this technique works best with the fabric that doesn't have a clear right or wrong side because it's reversible. So you want to be able to show both sides. So once they're laid together, then you stitch a seam about 1/4 of an inch from this inner piece. So here we have it stitched, so you can see that the seam is stitched. Then the next step is going to be to fold over this edge and press it well. So here's the edge, it's folded and pressed. So the next step is going to be to open and press. So here we can see there's the seam. It's open, we've pressed it well, so you can already see all the raw edges are inside the seam. They're not left out. Then we're going to go and top stitch along the edge of this little fold. So here it is. It's top stitched, and you can see it's totally reversible. There's no raw edges. So this side does have 2 lines of stitching, and this side has 1 line of stitching. That's fine. That's just part of this technique. So that's how you do the reversible patchwork seam. But when would you want to use this? Once you start thinking about it, you might think of lots of ideas of times when you might want to use this. Because any time when you want to do patchwork, but you don't want a backing or a batting might be too bulky for it. So things like table linens, you might want to do a tablecloth or placemats with that if you don't want the batting. Or for wearables. So I have this. This is a scarf, and it's made out of like a drapey rayon fabric, but reversible patchwork. So it's pieces sewn together, totally reversible. And for a light fashion scarf, I don't want the heavy batting and quilting in it. I just want the patchwork. One of my favorite places to use, which if you've seen my website, you've probably seen, is to use it in window hangings. And especially with batik fabric, it glows like stained glass. So I have a piece that's up in the window. I'm just going to turn the camera to show you. So there's one of my new pieces. That was done as a sample for my March project for my Island Batik Ambassador Challenge. So that's another great way to use this. So I'm sure you'll think of other ideas. When I've done workshops, people usually think, oh, this technique would work for this. And people have a lot of good ideas of times when they might use that. So if you think of any great ideas of places to use this technique, feel free to put it in the comments or send me a message. I'm really interested to hear how people use this technique. So that's all for today. Next week on Friday, I'll be here and we're going to be talking about finding your embroidery personality. So I'll see you next Friday to discover your embroidery personality. Until then, enjoy doing reversible patchwork. And I'm going to have links in the description for other tutorials and patterns that use this technique. So have a great week. Bye.